And we are back. Hope everybody's doing okay. It is good to be live once again here on the channel. It is Thursday, June 12th, 2025 here in Las Vegas. We're in Pacific time, of course. I hope I'm covering enough time zones. Of this, has been the first live stream we're doing in a while. So back to business here. And it's good to see everybody. We have a good one here today. We have the OmniBook X Flip, the 14 and the 16. We have one AMD Kraken Point version, and we have one with the Intel Lunar Lake. So should be interesting. And by the way, you can get these in either Intel or AMD, either one. So you have some options here. So I like what HP is doing there. Prices are pretty decent. We'll get into the numbers and price availability and all that. The models that we have are the OLED models, but you can get them in non-OLED if you want even longer battery life and other, things. Save some money, obviously. But good to see everybody as we have about 35, 40 of you watching. We're looking at, we're streaming on multi-platforms, 2 platforms, actually. We're looking at here on YouTube and then, of course, X, formerly known as Twitter. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. It's time to get these done here. Now, this, of course, is the Envy follow-up, or the successor, I should say. Used to be the HP Envy line, but of course, with the rebranding, it's now OmniBook in terms of the consumer lineup. But as far as this is concerned, it's basically the successor to the HP Envy X360, both the 14 and the 16. So that is what we have here today. We got the 2 boxes here. So we'll get double unboxing today. All right. We'll look at the specs. We'll look at all that, and then we'll get them out of the box. Now, it was just a spoiler. I did open these up, and I did install the updates that Windows requires, which takes a long time. So I didn't want to bore you with all that and delay anything. So I already did that last night, installed all the benchmarks, or some of the benchmarks that we're going to look at here today. And then, of course, that saves us time, right? So time is money. All right, so let's put we'll do the 14 first, I guess. This is the one right here. We'll leave the 16 for the second part. We'll do that. But let's look at the 14 first, and let's get the specs onto the stream. But before we do that, I just want to say hello to a few people. Good to see you, my friend. They got William here, obviously a moderator and friend of the channel. One Bad Van is here. Been missing these lately. 100-hour work weeks. Yeah. I know what that's all about. Good to see you here, my friend, as always. So good to see everybody. And then I just want to say hello. Now, just keep in mind before we get to the specs and unbox this, do me a favor. We are making our big push for 250,000 subscribers. We just hit 230,000 last night. Tremendous amount of growth here in 2024. Again, we keep hitting these milestones. Let's get it done. We're moving rapidly. Got a lot of great stuff. I plan on doing even more stuff coming up. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And then, of course, we have super chats, super stickers, memberships, all sorts of ways to support the channel. But all you have to do is watch, hit the like button, and subscribe. All right, without further ado, let's get not this out of the box yet. Let's get to the specs first. I want to show you that. So this is the OmniBook X Flip 14. We got the 16 following this. And this one is a 14-inch display here, 3K, 2880 by 1800. We've seen it before. It's the 3K display or 2.8K, whatever you want to call it. Multi-touch OLED, right? So we'll talk about that. AMD Ryzen AI 7 350 on this. So this is the AMD Kraken Point. And that, of course, has 8 cores, 16 threads, Radeon 860M graphics, 32 gigabytes of memory on this model, but you can get 16. There are cheaper versions of this that you can save some money on, but 32 is nice, and you like to have that. 1 terabyte of storage on this unit, replaceable SSD, which is good, M.2. It's a 2280, so it's a full-size one. We'll look at the internals. 3-cell, 59-watt-hour battery, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4. That is what we have so far. So these are pretty good specs so far as we wait till the panel changes over here. And then you also have the size here. We're looking at about 3 pounds. It's 3.05 pounds in terms of the weight. It's pretty thin. It's pretty light, obviously. It's got a 5-megapixel IR webcam, which is always welcome. You got DTS audio, dual speakers, HP Audio Boost, Poly Studio. I'm a big fan of Poly Studio, by the way, as far as communications app. Meteor silver is the color we have here today, but there's atmospheric blue. There's all sorts of colors you can get this in that look pretty good. And they think there's another color as well. And then there are we'll look at the ports in a little bit, but those are the specs. And price is $1,519 as tested, but I think it starts at around $1,000 or so as we get to the next page here or the next panel. And that will tell you, obviously, the pricing and where to get it. That is over at HP's website. So it is a starting price of $1,000, as you can see. So not too shabby, considering the climate we're in financially. But yeah, $1,000 OLED. I don't think that one has the OLED. I think that would have the 2.2K or the 2K display. 16. This is the 16. I have the wrong one, but yeah, you get the idea. We're looking at the 14 here, but I must have put the wrong one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll look at the pricing in a minute anyway. But that is the specs on the 14-inch, and we can spec one out a little bit later. All right. So again, this is the successor to the Envy X360 that was very popular on the channel last few years. So without further ado, let's get it out of the box. I already did it, so it's a fake. It's fake. I don't know why I do that for dramatic purposes, but let's just get it open. Okay, so pretty nice packaging. Again, like I said, I opened it up. Let's remove the unit. It has a little bit of heft here, and then let's see what we get. Oh, it looks like we get a pen, so that's good. I don't know if that's optional. I believe it is. I think it's when you check out and you configure this over at their website. You get some documentation here. I think you can choose the pen as an option, and I definitely recommend it, especially for those note takers, artists, and so forth. You get some documentation here, getting started. Pretty nice. And I think that's it. Probably some warranty information involved there, whatever. And then that is the paperwork as we put that away. Okay, and then we get our charger here, usually very compact here, 65 watts from HP, USB Type-C, so that's always welcome. Okay, there it is. That's pretty light. I like the way that these are getting smaller and smaller and still giving us enough juice. And then there's your power cord. Okay, and then here is the pen. All right, so let's open the pen up and let's see which one it is to color coordinate and all that stuff. Oh yeah, there it is. Matching silver, Meteor silver right there. So that is pretty good. Let's take off the sticker there. And you get some extra pen tips over here. You can see that there. Switch microphones, as you can see, the extra pen tips and so forth. So that is that. Let's put the pen to the side. We'll be looking at that in a little bit. And it looks like that's everything in the box. Okay. No sleeve like they used to give in the old days. And then, of course, we have this. We could take a look at Linux today if we have some time. We'll see how that works out, but we can see. All right, so this is that Meteor Silver, and you can see it there. Oh, yeah, this is thin and light. Now, I opened this up, like I said last night. Minimal flex are given the chassis. That looks pretty good. You can see here. Let's do the you-know-what test. So let's see. It's a 2-in-1. Not normally something you can do, but you can do it here, so that's good. Usually the hinges prevent you from doing that because, again, 360-degree hinge. Here's a diagram. The pen sticks magnetically to the side, as we'll look at, but there you can see the diagram. And that is it. So let's see how the pen sticks here. So, yeah, it sticks right here. Boom. Pretty good magnet there. Now, I already did the Windows Hello, so that's already set up. And what we have here is an OLED display, 2.8K or 3K. Very, very nice display. In fact, it's pretty bright. Let's show you. You can bring up the brightness there. But very, very good. The live stream doesn't do it justice. This is an OLED display. Not a lot of wobble there. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's really good, especially for a 2-in-1. this actually has a really nice keyboard. This is a latticeless keyboard, or zero lattice keyboard, as Dell likes to call it. HP calls it latticeless. We saw it with the what did we see it with? The Omen, right? So the Omen Transcend 14, the Omen 16 Max, Omen Max 16, and very, very nice in terms of this keyboard. Let's give it a listen to see how it sounds. Pretty satisfying. Now, it has a regular style touchpad. It's not haptic or anything. And again, at this price point, not too bad. Now, this is running the Kraken Point, the Ryzen 7 350 on this one. So this is pretty good. You can go down to the Ryzen 5, but this is the 350, the Ryzen 7. OmniBook X is what they're calling it. And here you can see, you can get a look at it here. This is the back of the unit. Meteor Silver looks fantastic here. There you can see it. Let's get a look at the ports here, and we'll get a measurement of the weight in a moment. So let's look at the ports, and we're going to start off on the left side where you have your USB-A port and HDMI 2.1 and two. It looks like it could be two. Yeah, two Thunderbolt 4 ports, I think. Let me see. Let's we'll bring up the specs there, but two USB-C. I think one is Thunderbolt. Let me bring up the specs. I totally forgot. Let's see what the ports are here, just so we know. And all happening live here. All right, let's pause it there. Okay, so we have two USB-A ports, an HDMI 2.1, one USB Type-C, 40 gigabits per second. Oh, so it's yeah, because it's AMD. It's USB 4.0. 40 gigabits, like I said, and then a Type-C 3.2 Gen 2, which is going to be 10 gigabits per second, as I thought. All right, so that's the specs on that. So again, one is a USB 4.0 and one is 3.2 Gen 2. So 40 gigabits per second versus 10 gigabits per second. And let's go to the right side here. And on this right side is a headphone jack and another USB-A. Now, one little thing I would like to see, have those split up in terms of the USB-C ports, one on each side. So pretty good that if that would have been the case, although it does cost more money for them because the way the motherboard is constructed and engineered, it would be more money for them to split those up. So they keep them on the same side to save some money, apparently. But that's the deal on that. And then, of course, here's a closer look at the keyboard, and again, latticeless keyboard. So far feels pretty good. It looks great. I got to tell you, this Meteor Silver looks great. All right, so that is that. Let's get a measurement of the weight here, and let me put this over here, and let's bring this out here as our scale, and let's put it into kilograms, and we'll do the charger and all that after. But let's do this. Just the unit alone, we're looking at 1.408 kilograms, and that is 3 pounds, 1.7 ounces. So again, this is the OLED model, so maybe a little bit heavier than the non-OLED, but I don't know. We'll have to see. But that is the weight just with the unit alone. And let's put it back into kilograms. And with the power charger and the power cord, you're looking at 1.703 kilograms. And with the pen, you're looking at 1.715 kilograms. And if you want to know what the pounds are, 3 pounds, 12.5 ounces for a total travel weight. So that is that. Now, yeah, William, I see your comment there. No SD card reader, but that's common, I guess, for now, 2025. We're not seeing a lot of these 14-inch laptops getting that kind of SD card or micro SD card reader anymore, which is kind of sad. We just saw it on a 14-inch, but that had a more professional vibe or gamer vibe, which is the Razer Blade 14 that I just reviewed. If you didn't check it out when we're done here over on my channel. Build quality looking really good. Love this, again, Meteor Silver looking very good. And again, Windows Hello camera works great, so face recognition works great here. Now, of course, this being a 2-in-1 convertible means you can put it into like the tent mode here. As you can see there, a very glossy display. I do have a lot of lights. You have the stand mode, which is good for presentation and all that stuff. And then, of course, tablet mode, is good for use with the pen. Again, at 3 pounds plus, I think it's a little heavy to use long term, so you might want to use it on the table as this is blocking it. But you get the idea here, as you can do it in the different modes. So looking good so far, and the pen is good. It sticks magnetically to the side. It charges via USB-C. I think, yeah, it slides up there, so you can see that. Pulls up right there, and you can just plug in a USB-C charger, and charges pretty quick, I would imagine. So, yeah, pretty good so far. We'll get to your comments and questions in a little bit, but as we gonna move on here. So that is the 14-inch here, as I'm putting this magnetic connection here for the pen. So that's the 14-inch. So let's close that up, and let's bring out the 16-inch, and we're going to do that one now. So let's get that out of the box as we're moving right along. And this one, of course, is a larger display. So this is also convertible and also OLED. This one, though, is running the Intel Core Ultra 7 258V, aka Lunar Lake. But you could also get this in the Kraken Point from AMD. Same thing with the 14-inch, vice versa. So there are some options here when it comes to the processor. So we've already cut it open. I've already opened it up last night to update it, so we can just get right to the heart of the matter here and just open this one up. And here we have a bigger device here and a little bit more heft, as you can probably imagine. And again, we also looks like we get the pen here, right? So that's good. And we'll see if it color coordinates with that color. That's a darker color. We'll look at that in a moment. Probably we should have looked at the specs in a minute, but we've already got this open. I'm sure the documentation is pretty much the same, but we do get a 65-watt charger. Now, this one looks like it might be the same charger. Yep, it's the same charger as the 14-inch, 65 watts, USB Type-C. So that is the same. Nothing changes there, so we can leave that there. We'll use one for now. And then there's your power cord. And then the pen, let's take a look at this one. Also the same color. And it is as the 14-inch and the extra pen tips there. Let's take that out. We're going to stick that magnetically to the side. And that is what we get there. All right. So that is that. And then, of course, we get the unit here. So this one's a darker color. And I think this one's called Meteor Gray or something like that. This was Meteor Silver. I think this is Meteor Gray, which is a good, by the way, you can take a look at it here. It's beautiful. And it's a larger device. It's heavier. We'll get into it. But you can see them side by side. And let me bring that lined up here. And then again, the pen, I kind of wish it was the same color, but there, I mean, as the, let me see where this goes here. It goes here somewhere. So this would be on this side. So I think it goes like this. There we go. All right. So these are the colors here. You can see them there. I hate when things are upside down. There we go. It's OCD of mine. You can see the difference in color there. This is the darker the gray color, and this is the silver color. Meteor Silver, I think Meteor Gray or something like that. We'll take a look. In fact, let's look at the specs real quick on the 16-inch. Yeah, so this is same display with only 16 inches. Core Ultra 7 258V, Intel Arc graphics, which are great, by the way. 32 gigabytes of RAM, 68 watt-hour battery. And this comes in at 4.15 pounds. And it is called Eclipse Gray, by the way. Eclipse Gray. And we'll look at the ports in a moment. But it does have a Thunderbolt port. And it does have another USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 2. So there you go. Okay, so that is the specs on that. And then as far as the price on this, let's take a look at that. Hope I got the right one because I had the wrong one on the 14-inch when I did my pre-production here. So yeah, this one is the 16-inch, and this one is $11.99. Okay, so I think it starts at $11.99 or something like that, and then you can go up to the OLED. We'll price these out as well, but again, links for everything in the description below. So that is the 16-inch here. All right, let's put this one to the side for now. Let's do the you-know-what test on this. And let's see, without any assistance, yes, you can. So not something we normally can do. I already set up the IR camera Here's a diagram, by the way. See if that can work. The IR camera. Because I have a shutter switch closed. So let me put it on me for a second here as I put in my pin. I had the shutter switch closed, but it works very good. I've already tested it out. So there it is. There's your diagram to connect the pen to the side there. And looks really good. Let's get a close-up of this keyboard here. And as you can see, a little bit more screen wobble than the 14. But again, it's a larger display. So the 14 had a minimal screen wobble. This has more screen wobble. Latticeless keyboard. Looks like this might be a speaker grill. I don't know. We'll have to test all that out. Larger touchpad. Obviously, there's going to be more screen real estate here on this Eclipse gray version here. This is the color. And this is the Meteor Silver on the 14-inch. Again, there are other colors. There's even the atmospheric blue, I think, involved in one of those. You can probably get them in. So here you can see them side by side, and there they are. So that looks pretty good. Again, these are the successors to the HP Envy X360, the 16 and the 14, and respectively. You can see them here. These are the 2 units that were sent over. And again, I want to thank HP for sending them over. For obviously been looking forward to these. I got to look at these a few months back, but these are the first time in the studio. All metal design, looks really, really premium, and it won't break the bank too bad overall. So that's been pretty good. And here you can get a back look at these two, again, at the different colors. Again, this one might show more fingerprints, but so far it's looking pretty good. I handled it last night a little bit. Fingerprints looks like it has a decent oleophobic coating on it. So that is where we are. And again, this one, these are both convertibles. So you can, I would have done that. I should have moved it over here. You can put this in the tent mode. And then here's the stand or presentation mode. And then, of course, the tablet mode. Again, this is going to be over 4 pounds. So definitely heavier even than the 3-pound 14-inch, right? So this is definitely heavier, but it is definitely good nonetheless. So that is that, and pretty good so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Again, this is the same pen. And like I said earlier, this can charge, if I remove the plastic, this charges via USB-C. You just pop up the cap there, and it just slides right up and reveals a USB-C slot. So there you go. All right, show the port layout on the sides. I will. I'm going to do that right now. So we can take a look at it. Let's bring it in closer here. Let me move these out of the way, and then we'll get a measurement of the weight. All right, there it is. You got the left side here. Let me make sure it's in focus. You have USB Type A, an HDMI 2.1, a Thunderbolt 4, because this one is Intel, and you get a USB Type C 3.2 Gen 2. That's 10 gigabits per second, and the Thunderbolt is 40 gigabits per second. All right, and then on the right side, you get a headphone jack, and you get a USB Type A. So you have pretty good overall ports here. Again, same situation, 2 USB-C ports on the left. Would have liked to have them split up, yes, but we don't get that. But nonetheless, pretty decent port selection here. Again, big notable missing port here, especially on a 16-inch, is no SD or micro SD card reader. So that's what's missing there. All right, let's do our measurement of the weight here. So let's bring out the scale. And let's put that over here, and let's turn that on again. And so they're saying about 4.1 or 4.2 pounds, or let's see it in kilograms first. So with just the unit alone, we're looking at 1.879 or 1.878 kilograms, and that is 4 pounds, 2.2 ounces. And then with the charger and the power cord and the pen, let's just put them all in there, 4 pounds, 13.1 ounces, and that would be in kilograms, 2.185 kilograms for a total travel weight. So very similar between the ports, William, I agree. Port layout is very similar. The only difference is a 16-inch display versus a 14-inch, same resolution, same 120 hertz, by the way, on both of them. So that has been pretty good. All right, so let's put this off to the side there. So that's the charger. that we looked at. We looked at the weight and obviously the ports, right? So that's that. Let's put that to the side. So I've already loaded some benchmarks, and we're going to try a new benchmark that I haven't really done before. We're going to maybe do an experiment right now, and that is the Geekbench AI. So AI has been the big buzzword for the last couple of years. I would say last 2 years, they've been talking AI this, AI that, and more so than ever right now, right? So let me plug these in. And I will say, I think it's a lot of marketing, but now we're starting to see benchmarks come out that will try to give us some sort of standardized test like we get on other features like the regular Geekbench and the Cinebench. Those are obviously synthetic benchmarks, but we are going to take a look at these. If I can get logged in here. There we go. All right. So I did the Geekbench AI. I wanted to try that one. So let's load that in. I think I did them on both. Bench AI. So this is something new. And for those wondering, this is what it looks like on the 14-inch. I have that plugged into my dock so you can see. And we're going to run the same test on the 16, right? So this one is the AMD, and the 16 we're running Lunar Lake, Intel. All right, so this is the first time I'm running this test. So again, I don't know much about it. The options here are the AI framework, which you can do OpenVINO and Onyx, I guess, or so ONNX, CPU, and then DirectML. I don't know anything about this stuff. If you know more about it than me, let me know. But I really don't know anything about this. But that is what we have here. So let's run these two. I'm going to run them at the same time here. Camera's a little blown out, so let me lower that. Probably should have fixed the camera before he started, but that's all right. So I'm going to run them both at the same time. Same first benchmark there under the same circumstances. So let's do that. And you can see this on the 14-inch here. So yeah, this is happening all live, folks. Again, this is a first one. I don't know much about this, but if we can put it into context, maybe this will be the start of something. I don't know, but let me know what you think. So we showed the ports. Yeah, the port layout looks the same. I agree, William. Gustavo Silva, good to see you. Tech Tony's here. Yeah, great to see you. When is the OmniBook 7 Flip 16? I don't know. When they send that to me, that would be great to get it. What will come after OLED? Well, they tried mini LED, but I think a lot of these mini LED didn't take off for whatever reason. It could be cost. It could be the blooming effect. I don't know. But it's pretty interesting nonetheless. What comes after OLED? I mean, OLED has its upsides, right? The deep blacks, the super vibrant colors, the really high contrast. The downsides are you have to worry about things like burn-in, although I would say it's becoming less and less maybe. You'd have to put a static image for a very long time. And then for it to burn in. And then, of course, screen flickering. But they're getting better at this. These are really getting better, I got to say. It's less detectable than in the past. You left McAfee on these still? Yeah, I definitely left McAfee for a reason. Because of bloatware, crapware is on here, one bad van, and it still pisses me off that it's there, but it is what you would get, so I wanted to keep it as you would get when you unbox it for the first time and you buy it from, say, a Best Buy or whatever, HP's website. So there you go. Yeah, I'd love to do the Redmi book. If Xiaomi would send it over, it'd be great. But so far, nothing from them. So yeah, it's pretty good stuff coming out of China. Although, again, like we said, some of the stuff you can't get here, the Honor, the Huawei, they don't really sell it here. No dedicated page end, page up, page down buttons. Let's take a look here. So that would be over here. No, I don't see it. So that might be a sacrifice on the keyboard. There's page up, page down, end is there. So you'd have to use the function lock or a function, and there you go. So that is what that looks like. So the result here is first on this AMD version here. And we can take a look at that. So you can see here, that is the score on the Flip 14. We're still waiting on the Lunar Lake, but it was doing something in the background in all fairness. So let's see that one. So I don't know if we're going to get a legitimate score, but we'll see. So far, the AMD looks stronger for this AI than it does on this one. 6,084 on the quantized score, and then 4541 on this one. Single precision score 2201, and this one is 2591. I don't know what these mean, to be honest with you, but I wanted to try something new in terms of just showing you the same things over and over. I'm just tired of doing that. So I took a screenshot of this one and a screenshot on that one. All right. So those are the AI, or the Geekbench AI. First time I've done that test. Let me know what you think. I don't know what it means, to be honest. Let's see if we can get some context here. This is the 14-inch. So maybe it shows you against the others. I don't know. Oh, and let me see. Is this in the what's power profile is this? Oh, best performance. Okay. So I think we're okay on that. And let's go to the My HP app, or AI companion app. I don't know if that's the one. Accept all. Let's see. No, that's not the one. Anyway, we'll figure all that out later. But this is the context. I don't know what this all means. If anybody knows, let me know. Anyway, it doesn't look like too many people are interested in hearing about an AI test here. I don't know if it's boring. I don't know. Let me know. All right, good to see everybody. If you're joining us late, we are looking at the HP OmniBook X Flip versions. Those are the 360 versions, or the two-in-ones. We're looking at the 14 and the 16-inch here, as we have around 70 of you watching so far on both YouTube and on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yeah, try it, One Bad Van. See what scores you get. These are just first time I've run these tests here. Let's go to Geekbench. Let me close that. I don't know. We could do more of this maybe in the full review, but let's move along here. Let's do the Geekbench 6 here. And let me close this. Just something a little bit different, because we pretty much know what we're going to get on the standard benchmarks that we always do, the Geekbench 6, which we have here, and of course the Cinebench 2024 3D Mark. I think we know already what we're going to get from Kraken Point but everybody's talking AI this, AI that. Well, we finally have some benchmarks starting to trickle out. Procyon, now we have this. So maybe we can start including that, because it is not going away. It's going to be part of the fabric of these laptops. So I think it's definitely time to start looking at stuff like that. All right, so this is the CPU benchmarks. We know what to expect on these. So we're going to run these real quick here. And these are Geekbench 6. So single core, multi-core, we'll find out. Again, both have 32 gigabytes of memory. Both have the same capacity hard drive. I think it's 1 terabyte each, but we'll take a look at that. But as far as the processor, obviously a little different. This is Kraken Point. This is Lunar Lake. We've seen Lunar Lake quite a bit. We're starting to see more and more Kraken Point stuff coming out. Again, that is there. So brightness, I believe, is like 400 nits on standard dynamic range, and then can peak as over 500 nits or 500 or so in HDR. And these have the same 3K OLED display, 2880 by 1800. These are 120 hertz dynamic or variable refresh rate. I have these set on the 120 hertz, so you get the smoothest, most fluid experience, although it will use more battery, but that's fine. Yeah, David Bell, I agree. Yeah, I wanted to keep McAfee on here just so we can get the experience as an actual user would, a consumer going out and buying these. That is definitely what I was going for on that. So we'll see. But yeah, under normal circumstances, that would be one of the first things to go. So that is that. And then, of course, crapware to me is really bad. I know these companies, look, I know HP gets money from McAfee to put this stuff on here, preload it. The good news is you can remove it, right? But it is incredibly annoying, and it's incredibly invasive, and it's not necessary, at least in my opinion, to have that software. There are other ways to protect yourself from viruses and all that. That doesn't really add to the problem, doesn't add to the solution. It actually becomes its own problem in and of itself. 120 hertz is a nice bonus on these. Yeah, but I'm starting to feel like 120 hertz on a consumer laptop should start being standardized. I want to see less and less 60 hertz displays. I'll be honest with you. I want to see dynamic refresh rates, variable refresh rates. So that's some of the stuff that I'm wanting to see. And I'm glad to see HP's doing it. I saw some business laptops that are still 60 hertz, and I understand why. Maximize battery life for the target audience. But for consumer, absolutely, to me, should be, I can accept 90 hertz, but I definitely want to see 120 with the variable refresh rate. And I know these prices, it adds to the cost of the unit, but overall, I think these definitely need to have the 120 hertz. Let me know what you think. Right? One bad van. Yeah, so we just did the Geekbench AI test, which is relatively new here. So again, I want to start including more AI tests. This is sort of an experiment. Come along with me on it. So Richie's telling David to don't use any more anti malware software. Windows Defender has to be enough. Antivirus software slows your PC a lot, and I agree wholeheartedly. I agree with those sentiments there. Yeah, it's just a money grab at this point. I think for McAfee to pay again the brands, and I'm not just singling out HP because Lenovo has their deals with either I don't know who's a McAfee or the others, Norton or whatever, but it's not just HP. It's a lot of these consumer-facing brands that are taking money from these companies to pre-install this crapware is really what it is crapware. And it's annoying, and we're paying a nice amount of money for these. We don't need that. You know, if you want to cut corners and make it cheaper in other ways, and so I guess the argument on the brand's part is, well, we want to bring you these premium features like OLED, and that costs a lot of money, but we have to recoup some of that money. So we add this other stuff in that we make money on, the brands, and therefore we can keep the price low, but nothing's low right now. Although this is low in comparison or relative to the other more expensive laptops. But the good news is, you know, we have the OLED displays. But, you know, Asus has been putting out OLED displays across their whole line for the last couple of years, at least. So we're starting to see consumer laptops start to have, at a minimum, OLED options with 120 hertz as becoming more normal, as becoming the norm, right? So there we go. All right, so very similar kind of results, which is kind of interesting here. We got 2761 on the AMD base 14-inch, 2721 single core on the Lunar Lake, and then we have 10,927 and 10,171. So what that tells me is these are very similar processors. We've seen Lunar Lake quite a bit. And I will say I'm very used to this. And I like Lunar Lake quite a bit because of the battery and efficiency that you get. Now, I didn't see great numbers so far with the AMD Kraken Point, their mid-range processor here. And I think that's not as efficient as Lunar Lake. And the other thing I've noticed, the Radeon 860M is not quite as good as the 140V graphics we saw on the Lunar Lake. So there is just some differences right now between these mid-range processors so far. But let me know what you think. Check the warranty when you activate. Sometimes the warranty starts when you ship to Best Buy. I had to call up to revise the warranty date. That's a very good point, Jim. I'm glad you brought that up. These are review units sent over from HP, so I'm not keeping these. Obviously, I have to send them back. But for those that go buy it in big box stores like Best Buy, make sure, that's a good point that Jim brought up. Check the warranty start date. Yeah, if it ships to Best Buy, it could be on their shelves for months, right? Maybe years, who knows? Well, months, I would think. And you don't want to lose valuable warranty time, especially if something goes wrong. You want to make sure you get the warranty you actually are entitled to, right? So that's a good point. Unfortunately, you did not have the crap where these manufacturers would just adjust the price for these to be higher. And I agree, William, that is a big problem. Let me take my screenshot on these two. All right. So that is that. But let's do one more thing while we're here. OpenCL, Radeon 860M versus OpenCL on the Intel Arc 140V. Let's do these real quick. This goes quick, so we can do them real fast here. According to Richie, I'm really surprised that Lunar Lake is so efficient compared to ARM CPUs. Yeah, so we saw with the Snapdragon line of processors, Snapdragon X, right? The X Plus, the X Elite, the X, and all that. Um, so we saw great battery life, but it really depends on what you're doing on it, right? So if it's emulating and using Prism, it's going to be less battery life, but that's going to change over time, and we know that. What I found is Lunar Lake, which is Intel, which obviously x86 based apps are going to run natively, it's going to be more efficient. And what we're seeing in general with Lunar Lake, pretty much across the board, is really good battery life. I haven't seen a Lunar Lake laptop have really bad battery life. I don't think there is one. Now, we've seen some with mediocre in comparison to other Lunar Lakes because of the high resolution, the OLED. All that contributes to less battery, the size of the battery and all that stuff, the cooling solution employed. So there are a lot of factors that go into that. But in general, I would think Lunar Lake is very efficient and gives you great battery life. And when it comes to performance, yes, a single core multi-core is not going to be as good as the M series from Apple or the AMD Ryzen 9, Strix Point, and all that stuff. But the bottom line is, in real world usage, doing real world tasks, I'll be honest with you, you won't notice a difference. I don't. And I use these on a daily basis. All right. So you can see the difference here. It's a pretty big difference when it comes to the graphics. The 860M, as you can see here, did 15,595, and Lunar Lake, the Intel Arc 140V, did 29,629. So what that tells me is the 860M is not going to be as good in terms of graphics as an internal solution or integrated solution, I should say, as the Intel Arc 140V is. It's not going to be quite as good. So that is one thing. But the good news is you can get this not only get it in AMD, you can get it in Lunar Lake and vice versa. So you have some options there from HP. So that's been pretty good. So let me take a screenshot of these. Okay. So that's the results here from the Geekbench so far. And we can take a look at the cameras on these. These are 5 megapixel cameras here. Let's take a look at that real quick before I forget. So let's see if the Poly Studio is here. Let's see. Yeah, Poly Camera Pro. So the Poly Camera Pro is loading in now on the 14-inch, which I have connected to my dock. Same camera. It's the same 5 megapixel on the 14 and the 16. Let it access it. Accept all. Let's just continue with John Doe for now. And now, for the best experience, probably needs to permission to make available other apps on your PC. This is required if you plan to use. Let's skip that for now, but I can do it later, because if you're going to use Zoom and all that. But I'm just looking for a test here now. And you can see it here. So I'm a big fan of this camera, Poly Camera Pro. Right now, it's on meetings, 720p, but I'm going to put it on its maximum resolution of 4K. Continue that. So this is the 4K resolution here. And I like what Poly Camera Pro brings to the table here as opposed to some of the other brands. They've really done a nice job here. They've really done a nice job. If I can move the microphone out of the way, you can see it there. Looks pretty good. Let me make sure the camera is clean. I'm going to wipe it down. Now, there is a physical shutter switch above the camera. Now, the same camera is found on the 16, so I don't think I need to show you both. A lot of the same specs run between the 14-inch and the 16-inch here. So that's been pretty good. Now, the other things you can do here, and again, I don't know if it has to load in, so I'm almost afraid. So you can go off camera here, okay? So that's off camera. You can go anywhere studio, and that's going to load the effect here. It may take a minute or so for the first time, because I know I've had experience with this and other things. So let that load in. But the camera looks good. It's loading the effects, and that takes some time to load, as it's telling us. But it should be the same on this one. Let me look on the on this one. Let me get to the Poly camera here. And again, I think it's going to have a similar, almost same type of camera resolution as this one. 5 megapixels IR. That means you can log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. And well, that's loading in all that stuff because it has the background, you could change all the backgrounds. You can do all sorts of things, put some lower thirds on it. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff baked in that's free. You don't have to pay extra for that. And I think that is just a tremendous value. The standard default Windows camera app is not very good, let's be honest. And I think it caps out at I think 2K or two like 2K resolution or whatever it is, 1440p. Excuse me. So that's a little bit annoying. So let me go to the Polycamera Pro on this one. I don't know what's not loading in, but I would imagine it's the same on both Intel, or it's the same on the 14 and the 16, no matter which one you're going with. All right, so it finally loaded in on this one. So let's take a look. So here it is. Let me move the microphone out of the way. So yeah, look, you have to play with the lighting. I know the background is going to be, but this is just to give you an idea. Then you could do front and center. You can have the watermark or no watermark, meet and greet. So here we have my information. If you wanted to do that, you can do blank, which is nothing. And then you can change the background. So this is the Copper Seaside. This is the cafe. This is the outdoors. This is the office. This is, see another one here, the living room. Okay, it works, sort of. Yeah, it works. And I don't know if the NPU is doing anything. Who knows? We could probably look at that. But bottom line is, this is what it looks like. So that is the camera here. And again, it's going to be on both these. I don't know why that one's taking long to load, but it's doing things in the background. But that gives you the idea of the camera. Now, let's, what we can do next is, I want to see here how fast the drives are on this. And again, these are upgradable. So that camera's loading in. So let me download. I didn't get a chance to download the Crystal Disk Mark, and I'll do that right now. Okay. We don't need to put the poly camera on this. And let's go. Yeah, so real quick, I mean, if you want to see, I can change this here so you can get an idea. So this one would be the 16. Just to give you an idea. Okay, so this is the 16-inch, and this is the 720p, but let's bump it up to 4K. So this is the 4K, and again, I'm not going to load in the effects right now, but it's going to be the same as what we just saw. This is what it looks like. Let me know what you think. Okay. Excuse me, a little bit of a dry throat there. All right, so let's get an idea of the speed of the drive. I think they're going to have a very similar drive, but I don't know. Let's see. So let me go to the downloads here. Okay. And then I also want to get a sound test here. And I'll bring you the full review. I'll bring you all the benchmarks. We've seen Lunar Lake. We've even seen this. So you'll have all the numbers, as I always do. So this is a 1 terabyte on this one. Let me download this one. So far, a good read on this one, 6,024. And I'm expecting good reads. And it's a full size. And for those wondering, this is what the 14-inch looks like internally. And good news, you don't have to remove any rubber strips, as HP has a great service video, and I'll put a link when we're done on how to get in. And here it is. So let's pause that real quick here. So on the right side, you'll see there's an 2280 M.2, and that's the one we're looking at right now. This is Wi-Fi 7 Bluetooth combo card. I think that's slotted in. I don't have the picture of it without that little shroud on top of there, but there is a service video, and I'll direct you when we're done. HP did it for both the 14 flip and the 16 flip, so you can see the upgradability. You can swap out even the battery if you wanted to replace that. There's all sorts of great information. I love what HP is doing on their support site. They have a YouTube channel, and they have very detailed videos on how to get into the laptop, how to do it safely so you don't have static and all that, and then just replace the SSD, replace different modules on it. Yeah, very, very good. Now, for those wondering, Let me take this one off. I did the same thing. They have a video for the 16-inch, and let me bring it over here. And there you can see the 16-inch, but this one you can see without everything. And you notice that the Wi-Fi card, the Wi-Fi 7 Bluetooth 5.4 combo card is slotted in there. The M.2 SSD. I was kind of hoping the battery would be bigger because it looks like there's space for a bigger battery on both sides, or at least on the left side, but I could be wrong. But so far, that is what we're looking at here. Again, RAM is soldered in on both, so forget about any idea of it, replacing the RAM. But you can get these up to 32, and I think that's going to be more than enough. 16 should be good enough for most people, so I think you'll be perfectly fine with that. And we'll get the look at the result there once that's done. But that's the internals on the 16-inch. For those wondering. And here we're doing the 14-inch. And I'm actually almost here getting this one ready. So we're going to run this one. This is also a 16-inch laptop with a 1 terabyte. So I don't know if they have the same 1 terabyte drive. So this one, let's go to the device manager. So for those wondering, let me just go here to the disk drive. It's a Kioxia or Kioxia. I never know how to pronounce that. I think it was an offshoot of Toshiba at one point. It's a 1 terabyte. They have decent drives, so not too bad. And then on the 14-inch, you can see what I'm doing here. Let's go to the device manager, and that one would be, looks like the same drive. Let me just double check that. It looks like it's the same drive. So I like the consistency across the line. So the difference is they have a little bit different. It ends with a TO2. And this one's a TO4. So the TO4 is on the 16-inch, and the TO2 is on the 14-inch. I don't know if that means anything, but they're both 1 terabyte. Oh, I'm sorry. The one, I know why. The 4 stands for I guess maybe this is a 2 terabyte on the 16-inch. That's the difference. So this is a 2 terabyte drive. Wow. Now, this one you're looking at, so let me show you what I'm talking about. This one is a 2 terabyte drive. And this one is a 1 terabyte. So I like that they put a 2 terabyte drive in here. So very good. Very nice. So I'm really happy with that storage capacity option there. Yeah, I agree, right? When you load in the updates ahead of time, well, the time is not wasted and get your viewers to see more useful content. William, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, what was happening was, so with Windows 11, now with the setup, some brands send it set up already and it's ready to go. All updates are done and all that. So HP doesn't do that. So what they do is they check everything, make sure it's good, and put it into its natural state for the first boot up. And so then I would have to go do all the updates. And that takes about a half an hour plus with these new updates from Windows 11. So I don't want to waste your time. So I value your time and my time. So I did that in advance. So I appreciate that, William, for pointing that out. Andrew, service videos are more entertaining, though. Yeah, my service videos. Yeah, when I lose screws and I cut myself and I bend the back plate and all that stuff. Yeah, those are more fun. Not for me, though. It's not fun for me. All right, so where are we time-wise? We're getting there. We're at 55 minutes. This gives us an idea of the speeds here. So far, we're seeing about 57, 82, 60, 6,031 on the reads. Writes are about the same, 5,300 or so. So we'll let these run in the next few minutes. The last thing I want to do is the sound test. So I'm going to start loading the sound in, and that will be the last thing because I have somewhere to go. So let's see here. So let me go to Epidemic Sound, and let me put it on me for a minute here. All right, let me log in. And we'll get that set up, and then that'll be the last thing we do. Because I have more stuff to do. But so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing on these so far. Again, we have to do more benchmarks, but we've seen Lunar Lake. I can show you all the benchmarks. We know how this one's going to perform. And we know pretty much what we can expect with Kraken Point. And again, the full review will have all that stuff. So That's all coming. So let's do that real quick. And then when we're done, we'll look at the final result on that speed test in terms of the reads and writes on the 2 terabyte SSD and the 1 terabyte on this one. All right, let me go to like tracks. Now, these have the HP audio boost. It's the DTS X audio, so it's a little bit different. But let's just go native, out of the box, how it sounds. And we'll do our usual test. You know which one that is. Quite unique by Gloria Tells, because it gives us good bass. It gives us a good idea of what to expect here. So I don't need this. I don't need this. And let's make sure the volume is put at 100% on these. So let me put my sound meter here in the middle. Okay, and let's get an idea of the sound. So let me put these up to the volume at 100%. 100%. All right, let's give it a listen. This is the 14-inch. $16-inch. Okay, what do you think? I think maybe they sounded very similar, to be honest with you. I didn't find it much better on the 16-inch, even though it has a bigger chassis. I don't know if these are actually doing anything. Let me listen to see if these grills are doing anything. I don't know if they are. I think it might just be. I know there are side facing now or something like that. They're coming from, I think, somewhere from the front, like over here, from what I remember in the briefing. So they're coming from over here, I think. So you can see, actually, probably if I change angles here. So I think it's coming from these front side, like over here or something. I don't know. I'm going to look into that. But I think these might be for aesthetic purposes. I don't know if these have anything. Which one has the clear sound, Richie? The 16 sounded louder, right? Okay. You know, it's hard for me to tell sometimes, even though I'm here, but the meter helps me know which one is louder. So, okay, both sound good, although the 16 sounds a little bit better. Okay, not surprising, right? Not surprising. Let me just do something real quick. I want to hear if there's anything coming out of here. No, they're coming from, okay, so here we go. They're coming from here. See these slots here? These are the speaker slots. So it's sort of coming front facing, which is a change, I think, year over year. Yeah, they're definitely coming from here. All right. That's that. What do you think? All right, here's my overall thoughts so far. I think it's pretty much carrying on from the HP NVX 360. I like these quite a bit. I like the design. The Meteor Silver looks great, which is this one right here. And then the Eclipse Gray looks great as well. You can see them here top down. They both look good. And guess what? I think the oleophobic coating on these has been very good so far. Okay? So that is looking pretty decent here, folks. So far, so good. Again, I haven't tested the pen yet, but the pen is pretty much one we've seen before. It's the HP Tilt pen, so that should work out pretty well. They both have the same color, so would have been great to have the color coordinated on both, although I guess they would have to make different pens. I don't know. Maybe they do. I have one over here, which is an older one that needs to be charged. So this was an HP also, the Tilt pen. So it looks like this is the updated version. It needs to be charged because of glowing red, but it looks like to be the same. So in fact, if I use this on the Eclipse Gray, does it stick magnetically? Or maybe it doesn't. So it's a redesigned pen. So that's telling me that this has been redesigned to work with this. You see that just sticks magnetically here. So, or is it the other side? Hold on. Yeah, so it's this side. So let me try that old one again. Maybe if you want to color coordinate it with an older one. So that's this one. And then this one. Oh, yeah, it works. And in fact, it matches pretty nicely. I have to take that sticker off of it, but that actually matches pretty nice. So a more coordinated color with this one. Yeah, all right. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Check out the replay, people, if you are interested in these links in the description below. Yes, they are affiliate links. No, I'm not getting a big commission. Small commission helps keep the lights on. All right, people, I'm going to say goodbye. It was great to see you. Great comments today. Great job, moderators. I want to thank you for stopping by once again. I will see you in the next video. Got plenty of stuff, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I'm going to do all the testing on these. We're going to test the performance, battery life. We'll test the displays. We've seen these OLED displays before. They're tried and true, and they're really good. Until next time, people, I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.